So for this first episode of this series thing, we're going to be doing the maintenance and sharpening, all that. So one of this series. It's going to be good. So we'll jump straight in. So we've got 5 main things we're kind of looking for. I'll say 5, but there's loads of things. But anyway, we've got the filters. So we've got like the air filter and the fuel filter. There's also the oil filter, but when it goes to most saws, changing the oil filter is not something you do usually unless there's a severe problem with it, and that's such a pain to get to. So especially in this 261, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Then you've got things like your spark plugs, and that's about it really for that. But you've got your spark plugs, your engines, and all your exhaust. That's the one. And you've got to keep these clean. So I will open these up. But then you've got bar maintenance and chain maintenance. And then you've also got things like your pull cords. And then you're going to get into all the clutch maintenance and everything like that. Now, realistically, this all kind of comes down to the one whole thing, if you know what I'm saying. But all you're doing with maintenance, like I said in previous videos, is just keeping it okay. Stopping it from looking like a piece of crap that's been sitting around for years, and it will hopefully run for years. If you've got, a good brand, Stihl, Husqvarna, even like a lot of the Echo saws and some other ones out there, you're not really going to have much troubles unless you damage it or you're treating it like crap if you do good maintenance on it. I mean, to be fair with you, I haven't cleaned the saw the best over time. It could have had a better cleans anyway. But I've changed, the filters, air filter, fuel filter and spark plug every now and then. It does just make a difference. It keeps things running clean inside the saw. Stops any chance of gunk getting in, because when these things get dirty, you do get more gunk in the system, and it just prevents you from having to take all this off and get in there and replace a bloody piston and all that sort of stuff. It's just not what you want to do. So when it comes to the basic side of things, before we get into like the bars and chains and everything, I'll run over this pretty quickly. It's not going to be a very long video, but it really comes down to cleaning your air filter. If you've got an airline, it's so much easier. I don't have one. I need to get one. But you can just tap it. It'll get the worst of it off. Bit of a blow, that'll do the job. When you're doing this, you're going to close off any dirt from getting into the carburetor. If you put the choke on, it's going to prevent that from happening. Anyway, there you go. Choke off. And that's pretty much it for the air filter. And then for the spark plug, again, it's one of those things that I've run over about 1,000,000 times, and they're usually completely fine. But it's a good way to check if you're running the right fuel mix. If you've got cheap mix, or if you're running too much oil, or you're running too much fuel in your mix, you can tell. I mean, that doesn't look amazing because there's actually, I don't know if you can see on it, there's bits in it. So there shouldn't be really bits in it, which means I've got a feeling now I'm going to have to take this apart. Filter, because obviously fuel filter's not there, or it's come off, or whatever the case is. You might find that all the stuff from the fuels, the causing is but from everything's getting pulled straight through. Dirt is getting pulled from the tank into the carburetor, and then from the carburetor into the engine. But you'll probably find is that's usually fine, and it's either dirt's getting into your carburetor, either because of this or because whatever reason you didn't clean it properly last time, or whatever the case may be, and the carburetor's pushing stuff straight through into the engine. Now, you can get way into this if you need to, but if you check both those things, which I won't do now, but I'll do it later, and you'll find that if there is stuff in the carburetor, but there's not stuff from the fuel filter, and that's not an issue, and hopefully it's just your carburetor that's the issue, and you can just give that a clean and you'll be okay. But obviously if that's not the issue, then something's got into your piston, or something from the saw's broken and putting parts into there, and that's when you got a big issue. But anyway, that's about that. Fuel line's okay, feels pretty good, and if this is on properly, which it is, so that is that. And one of the other things I teach you is tension of this. If it's doing this, your tension's good. Obviously keeping these clean, which mine isn't, and that's about it for this. And then we're going to get into things that you want to be checking under here, and then we'll get into bar and chain stuff. So we take this poor bullied saw apart. She's clean. She's cleaned, taken apart to scraps. And voila, a dirty saw. Again, it's literally all about coming back after your job or in the morning at some point, getting rid of all this gunk. Let me just get this, and that's probably a lot better. Just about sorting out all of this, keeping this area clean. Don't want anything in here. You can obviously airline this out, but be careful because you'll get oil everywhere. But I'll do this a bit more deeply in a minute. But once you've got this area cleaned, you're just doing daily maintenance. Can, if you want, take this off, and you're just checking for springs and everything that looks in pretty good condition. Once you've knocked her out of the park and you're down to your bar and your chain, obviously as you can see, this has been abused, same amount as that saw has been abused, but all you're doing with this is cleaning out the bar, here, checking for any burrs sticking out the side, and which if you do find, the file's gone, just file down like this. I have a separate video on it. I mean, you can see there it's got way too hot all the way along. It's time for a new bar really. And just make sure those burrs come down. And once you've done that, you go along the top, keeping it level. You want the same sort of glisten across the top, making them look even. again, the sprockets, you know, it's just of age, but it's still running well. It's not stiff. This is what we want. Spray a bit of WD-40 on it, and we're getting down to this. A few things to check is the points on the bottom of these. If they're being flattened, it's time for a new bar, because that means you file this bit down so much that it's running across the bottom, which can be another sign for too much heat showing on the bar. And then general just look, you know how it is. You don't want to change the brake whilst you're out on the job. And then again, it all comes down to wind sharpening. Again, I've got another video on, so I won't get too depthy into this, but the depth gauges want to be equal or slightly below, by like 1 file stroke, if that, to the tip of your cutting there. And you want this to have that nice scoop and a nice pointy edge. That's basically it. I mean, when you do it in the masons and things, it's all about just keeping them in good conditions, you know. And it's just literally knocking those things off. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and keep your saws maintained.